What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Worldwide Technology Championship. This will be the last preview, not ever, just while I'm in Australia, back in the States on Wednesday. Thank you for bearing with me over the last couple of weeks as I continue to pump these out. But yes, it'll be good to get back home. But let's talk about this week. We need to go through a newer golf course. We need to talk through this field that has a very interesting golfer as the most expensive one. And there's just a lot of things that we need to consider with this FedEx Cup fall and the way that we're getting to the finish line. So let's jump into it and start right now. This is the course key stats page on my website, RickRunGood.com. And I'm going to tell you, you probably don't need to look at this too much for this week. We are just now in the second year of playing El Cardonal, which is a golf course that Tiger Woods designed in Cabo. And throughout the whole PGA Tour, Live Golf stuff, the course that they used to play for this event when it was called everything else, Mayakoba Golf Classic, OHL, then the Worldwide Technology. They were playing that at a Greg Norman designed golf course, and I think one of the things that they wanted to do with the ties that eventually would become El Chameleon to Live Golf and Greg Norman is they wanted to move it away from that golf course, so they went to this course that Tiger designed. This is not a PGA Tour level golf course in terms of difficulty. In terms of conditioning, it's awesome, right? I mean, it's beautiful. Actually hope to play it when I get down there in a month and a half or so. But it's a resort golf course. You're talking about literally zero rough on the course. Zero rough. If you miss the very generous landing areas, you are in sand, like sandy native areas. If you then, on your approaches, the greens are massive, 8,300 square feet on average, some of the biggest that we have on the PGA Tour. The winning score last year was 27 under par. I was looking through some of the statistics. You saw guys at the top of the board. Eric Van Rooyen won the golf tournament. I think he missed 4 fairways all week, or it might have been 6, 4 or 6 fairways all week. And there were like 10 guys that did better than that. He missed 10 greens all week, and there were like a dozen guys that did better than that. I mean, it's just going to be fairways, greens, birdies. How many can you make? Matt Kuchar finished inside the top 5. I think his birdie or better rate last year was close to 50% of the holes. It's just crazy. Okay. So you are going to need to make a lot of birdies. The reason that I say, hey, don't worry too much about the stats for this week is because we only have the 1 year's worth of data, right? It is probably not very telling. It is probably not predictive. It's probably a nothing burger. But the big thing that you're going to see throughout is paspalum, right? That is a specific type of grass. This is platinum paspalum that's throughout the entire golf course. You see this in tropical locations because it does really good to holding up to salt, whether that's sea spray from holes that are right next to the water or just salt in the air. It does a really good job there. It is very durable strain of grass. It putts a little bit differently. It usually putts slower. It usually does not have as much break on it because of the way that the blades of the grass lay and the size of them. So it is unique. The unique factor about it is that most times that we get it on the PGA Tour, there's not shot link data to go along with it because of usually where these courses are. So I would love to pull up, and I could pull it up. It's just not going to be as great. Like putting on paspalum is usually a small sample size issue because we don't usually have shot link there. So what we tend to do, or what I like to do, is look at how a golfer is played on paspalum courses in general, and then compare that to how they play non-paspalum golf courses. So you're going to see this chart. I will reference this chart probably a couple times throughout the show. If you are not watching on YouTube and you're listening to the audio version of this, it is literally just a chart of every golfer in the field, how they play on Paspalum versus how they play on non-Paspalum golf courses. And the difference there, they have to have 10 rounds on Paspalum. So there's only 78 golfers in this field that qualify for that. And it shows you the differences. I am including this screenshot and a link to this actually in my newsletter for this week. So if you have not signed up, RickRunGood.com/newsletter. There is a link in the description. Or if you are signed up, this will be in your email at some point this week. So you might see me reference that a couple of times. Okay, let's get to the cheat sheet here. So really interesting thing that's going on. We have two golfers in the $10,000 range, and I'm very far zoomed in so that you guys can see this on my laptop. But we have a new big dog at the top, and it's Max Grazerman, checking in at $10,400. That is easily the most expensive he has ever been in his career by nearly $2,000. The most expensive prior was 2 weeks ago, but one tournament ago. Remember, there was an off week for the Zozo Championship at $8,700, and he finished T2. Max Grazerman, since basically, we'll loop in the Zurich Classic here, but as an individual, has been on an unbelievable run. Hasn't finished worse than T40 in any of the events that he has played since the Puerto Rico Open. He has 3 runner-up finishes. The way that he strikes, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. There we go. That looks fair to me. The way that he strikes, it's unbelievable. Very, very strong tee to green player. And then we saw massive putting greens in some of these runner-up finishes. He should have won the Wyndham Championship. Yes, absolutely. The way that he projects for this golf course, I think is fairly good. He is not going to gain 10 strokes putting like he did at the Zozo Championship. He is not. However, with that being said, he is a very good putter. He's capable of gaining 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strokes putting. You saw him gain 6 at the Wyndham, 7.5 at the 3M Open. He is capable of having those huge putting weeks, which you're going to have. Tons of firepower in the bag, right? If you're going to need to be able to score look at his, just look at his charts here. Strokes gained putting over the last 100 rounds. He's probably one of the best players in this field. Things are certainly trending up. If you look at his birdie average, he's 16th on tour, which means there's only 15 guys on tour that make more birdies than he does. But that is on tour in this field. It is probably much, much better than that. We don't have a lot of him on kind of these coastal Paspalum golf courses, but he did finish T15 at the Puerto Rico Open in March, which kind of started this run of really good golf for him. So Grazerman, I think certainly warrants the $10,400 price tag. Also, I just realized that I still had that sorted by salary. So I might have said like he hasn't finished outside the top 20 in however many weeks, but that's not true. It's still a very good run. The run from the U.S. Open is incredible, but he did have a T33 at the FedEx St. Jude. But still very, very good stuff. Still 3 runner-up finishes in his last 5. My bad. I forgot I still had it sorted by his highest priced weeks. Cameron Young is second, which if you would have told me even a couple of months ago that someone named Max Grazerman, who probably didn't even come into our stream of conscious until the summer, would be more expensive than Cameron Young, I would have been pretty surprised. And when I look at trying to figure out if this is where Cam Young gets right, I'm not so sure. Loses 6 strokes on approach at the BMW Championship, loses 3 at the FedEx St. Jude. So his season came to an end in the playoffs in pretty ugly fashion. The play before that was better, but he still could not putt, which is something that we've seen from him at times. He goes a very, very streaky golfer. The best news I have for Cam Young is that he has not put really anything on tape in 3 months, 2.5 months. He's probably been home getting everything all sorted out. Lost strokes off the tee here last year, shocking. Lost strokes putting here, not good. Would have to fix a lot of different parts of his game in those couple of months since we've seen him. I am going to wait and see. I've tried to be early on other guys like Justin Thomas or I'm trying to think who else, maybe Ricky Fowler, but Cameron Young is probably a guy that I will wait and see on. So the 10K range is probably Max Grazerman or not. We'll see as the ownership starts to come out for this week, and we'll know on the Wednesday live chat what that ends up looking like. But really going to probably need to be a little bit patient on Cam Young. Okay, the 9K range is probably the range of golfers that we've talked about the most this fall. These are the guys that have played nearly every single event. They have played well. They're deserving of these price tags. They are trying to get into the first 2 signature events for next year, all that stuff. So I'm not sure I have anything super new to say about these guys, but I will point out a couple of things. If you go to the power rankings here and just look at the best players over the last 35 rounds, many of them reside in this 9K range. Harry Hall is number 1 in this field, raw strokes gained, 1.59. He's 9,200. JJ Spawn is 4th, 1.29. He's at $9,000. Matty Schmid, 96. And then Doug Gim at 96 as well. They are all part of the group that have gained at least a stroke per round over the last 35 rounds. There are only 9 of those golfers in this field, and 4 of them are here in this 9K range. So it is an example that you probably cannot go wrong here. Play your guys. If you want to play JJ Spawn, that's fine. I'm not sure this is the greatest spot for him. I'm not sure he's played at this course in Cabo at the Diamante Resort. Let's see. Did he play this last year? He did. Finished T67. Hasn't had a lot of success in Cabo in general. El Camaleon wasn't a good spot for him either. Not that there's anything to point at between these two, but I think I'd rather you be with no rough, with the firepower that you're going to need to have. I wish JJ Spawn was a little bit longer off the tee. The putter has cooled off a little bit over the last 4, probably boxing his name out or crossing his name off the list. Lucas Glover has these runs of, can he putt or not, or can he not putt? The stretch that he's in right now is currently a little bit of both, as usual, right? So he has back-to-back T3 finishes in which one, he gained 5 strokes putting, and another, he lost 2.7. That at least makes me a little bit more hopeful, because there was a time where he was completely dependent on finishing position based on whether he was going to gain 5 strokes with the flat stick or lose 5 strokes. Finished T59 here. Hasn't been great in Cabo in general. Lukewarm on Lucas Glover. The other thing to consider here, and I'm a big Matty Schmid fan. Matty Schmid is one of the worst Paspalum specialists. So basically an anti-specialist. And this might not be fair because he only has 10 rounds on Paspalum. But he is a slightly better than PGA Tour average player since the start of 2021, and much better recently at every other type of golf course. The 10 rounds that he has on Paspalum, he's losing a stroke per round. So it is about a stroke per round difference on Paspalum than any other type of golf course. So that makes him what I consider an anti-specialist. Other guys that are anti-specialists, Bo Hostler in 18 rounds is ranked 69th out of 78. Keith Mitchell is ranked 70th out of 78. JJ Spawn as well. So after looking through all of that, what does that leave us with in the 9K range? It probably leaves us with Ben Griffin, Doug Gim, Maverick McNeely, and Harry Hall. And I'm okay with that. These are guys that are priced here because of their play, not because of their name. I mean, Harry Hall's got, he's been great all summer long. Lucas Glover's putting together some really good finishes, as mentioned, although we might want to cross him out for Paspalum. McNeely had to withdraw from the Zozo Championship, though, if I remember correctly. I do not think that was injury related. Don't quote me on that. And then even Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin, 22nd at the Zozo. Yeah, he missed the cut at the Shriners, but before that, he was on a pretty good run. He might be the overlooked guy here because he is the most expensive. So, couple ways to narrow down that 9K range, but recent form is pretty strong for all of those guys. Okay, here's the 8K range, and I do think there's a handful of golfers that we need to provide a deep dive into. And I'm going to start with the most expensive, Harris English. When Harris English is healthy, he is the best player in this range, and I'm not sure it's particularly close. And he hasn't always been healthy over the last couple of years, but it looks like he might be right now. Black Desert Championship, T6, very good advanced stat profile. TPC Summerlin, T9, very strong advanced stat profile. Yes, I'm worried that was 2 desert-style golf courses, and now he's going to a beach kind of resort-style golf course. The thing to consider, though, is, all 3 of those golf courses are basically roughless, right? You're either in short grass fairway, very playable grass, or you are in trouble. So there are a couple of things statistically that would point to these not being that far off. But like I said, when he is playing well, or excuse me, when he's healthy, he's the best player here. Last year's champion, the defending champion, is Erik van Rooyen. Since this event last year, he's not done much. Finished T2 at the Cognizant, which is the old Honda Classic. And then since that, which was at the beginning of March, just kind of sprinkles in a couple of top 10 finishes. T4 in Myrtle Beach, that was in May. T6 at the Rocket Mortgage, that was at the end of June. And then the metrics kind of fell off. During that run of playing well, he was driving it beautifully. He has now lost strokes off the tee in 7 out of his last 8. He has lost strokes on approach in 6 straight. The putter has salvaged a couple of decent finishes, like 43rd and 46th, if that's what you call decent. So probably going to let EVR pass through this week. Sam Stevens, who we talked about a lot, probably at this point over the summer, right? So when he came back from the Korn Ferry and finished T2 at Wichita, went on this really good run, kind of Rocket Mortgage, played well. There was a lot of good signs. That hasn't really stopped. Went top 25 at both the Shriners and the Zozo. Hasn't missed a cut in the fall, so he's 4 for 4. All of those are 37th or better. The metrics are looking to be some of the best metrics that we've seen from him in a while. He's not the strongest second shot player, but he's starting to put together a few positive weeks, 2 out of his last 4. Very strong putter, very good off the tee. This is going to be a Korn Ferry Tour-esque birdie, I hate to say birdie fest, birdie bonanza. Would not mind rolling out Sam Stevens. And Matt Kuchar, the man who defies all logic of age and father time, continues to put together +4, +5 tee to green weeks. And I already mentioned him because he played here last year. He's played in Cabo a ton. He's had a lot of great success at this event. So he won this event in 2018. That was the year, right, where did he stiff his caddy or not, right? That was that year. Had a T3 in 2008. We don't have to worry about that. So first in 2018, 14th, 22nd, 27th, and T2. Only the T2 is at the Diamante Resort. But this is going to be, I don't want to say similar style of golf, but like tropical, more resort style. El Camaleon's kind of a very unique golf course on the schedule, but good signs for Kuchar, who's had himself a good summer and continuing into the fall. And then don't forget Rico Hoey, who is $8,200. If you go to just the raw strokes gained, he is the 10th best player in this field over the last 35 rounds, and he is only $8,200. He is a great long driver, very strong off the tee. If you look at his strokes gained trend, which is his 100 round baseline compared to what he's doing in the last 35, he's actually like the 6th best player in this field in terms of strokes gained trend. So you're getting a pretty good price on him at $8,200. He absolutely possesses enough scoring ability. Look at these metrics. He has gained throughout the bag at both the Zozo Championship and the Shriners, each of his last 2 starts. He nearly did it at the Black Desert Championship. He was just 0.06 strokes to the negative on approach. There are very few golfers who can gain throughout the bag in 3 straight starts. It doesn't happen often. Remember, Jake Knapp did it like at the start of maybe this year around Farmers, and that was very predictive of good stuff to come. You see that Rico gained throughout the bag at the ISCO, finished T2 there, and then the next start, which was the next week, he finished T8. So when you do that, when you gain in all 4 categories, it is generally quite predictive of good things to come. And he's doing that a lot recently, and I think the skill set fits nicely. The 7K range is really interesting here. I don't even know where to start. Let's just jump in. Daniel Berger, $7,900. He is currently, I think, like 127th or 130th or something like that in the FedEx Cup fall standings. Remember, with the time that he missed, he is staring down the barrel of conditional status on the PGA Tour, which he's still gonna play. He'll still play a lot of PGA Tour events, but he's got 2 starts. I guess 3 if he wants to play all 3. This week, Bermuda and the RSM Classic to get inside the top 125 or better, obviously. But otherwise, he'd be looking at conditional status. He started off really well in Vegas and then lost to the field in both rounds on the weekend, which wasn't particularly great. I thought he was showing signs, and I still think that he has. I mean, he's kind of just played himself. If we go round by round here, last 3 tournaments, I would say he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like 7 out of his last 12 rounds have been really, really good. Really good. 3 have been disastrous, and that final one has just been okay. So if he can clean up those disastrous rounds, he certainly has enough upside, routinely gaining 3 strokes to the field, to pay for himself at $7,900 for sure. Austin Eckroat, we're going to look at this together because I really didn't know the answer to this. So I just wanted to look. I wanted to see what he's been up to, and I'll show you why in a second. Finished 6th at the Wyndham, T18 at the FedEx St. Jude, T46 at the BMW, and then that was the end of the season. He has played 1 time this fall. It was at the Shriners. He gained 3 strokes from tee to green. He lost 3 strokes putting. He finished T46. He's usually a better putter. Well, I shouldn't say that. He had a better putting run in these 4 events from the Open Championship to the FedEx St. Jude than we had seen from him previously, and then what he was doing recently. The reason that I popped him up here is because he's one of the best paspalum specialists here. 20 rounds, he is a stroke better than his non-paspalum baseline, which moves him to basically he's a 1.5 stroke per round paspalum player, which is a ton. He's probably like the 4th or 5th best player on paspalum, minimum 10 rounds in this field. We can debate whether that's noteworthy or not, but I think it kind of is, and he's playing at least well enough to have me interested. Nico Echeverria, fresh off of his win, gets it done, and he is usually the guy who has had a lot of success on like tropical golf courses. So actually, let's do this. Let's do his top 10 finishes in his career. Puerto Rico. Okay. Hold on. Let me load a couple more of these. Is that all? Are these all? Puerto Rico, top 10. Why did I think he had, hold on. Let me try. Let's do it this way. Why did I think he had more? No, Myrtle Beach. I must be confusing him with someone else. Oh, okay. No, Punta Cana. Punta Cana was a T14. He won in... Here we go. Yeah. Okay. Now I've got my stuff figured out here. Yeah, okay. Won in Puerto Rico. Had that good event in Punta Cana. The Panama Championship was T7. So when he gets to some of these, played well at the Sony Open, T12, T15 at Puerto Rico another year, Bermuda T23. So it's not every single one of his starts, but it's when you start going through his best finishes, which he doesn't have a ton of, quite honestly. A lot of them are on kind of tropical golf courses. T31 here at this golf course last year. If you've been following along, you know that I'm a pretty big believer in Nico's game. Comes through, wins, awesome stuff. Probably it's hard to get this the week after win for him to come back and start playing well again. Especially because the last time he did it, it didn't go so well. But I would not shy away. He's only $7,500. He's fresh off a win. Alex Smalley is one of the better specialists that we have here. 1.5 strokes gained per round on paspalum. I wanted to see what he's been up to lately. Hasn't played a ton. Well, I guess he has. Four starts in the fall. T5 at the Sanderson Farms was his best finish. He has made the cut in his last 3. We need him to putt a little bit better. He's still driving it well. That wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. What else do we have here? Neil Shipley. What did Neil Shipley do at that event that he Monday qualified into, which is the last time we saw him? Shriners, right? Yeah. And he finished T41. Don't mind this at all. Neil Shipley's a phenomenal player. Okay, here we go. Joe Highsmith might be the diamond in the rough here, the buried treasure. He might be that guy. So his fall has been excellent. T13, T55, T6, T16. When he went to that weird putting grip, which is a reverse-handed claw grip, but the claw is backwards, right? It's like 3 things. It's very strange. He gained 6 strokes putting at the Black Desert Championship, and I sat here and said, wow, can he do that again? Is that possible he does that again, or is that a fluke? Picked up 2.5 strokes putting the very next week at the Shriners and finished T16. If that comes to Cabo, Joe Highsmith is in a really good position because the rest of his game is incredibly strong. He's gained 18 strokes from tee to green over those last 16 rounds. If he adds the putter, he's criminally underpriced at $7,400. I'm obviously cherry picking here because I know the last 4 tournaments for Joe Highsmith have been great. But if you go to this trends tool and look at the last 16 rounds, Joe Highsmith is the second best player in this field. So he's playing a stroke per round over his baseline. He was already playing over his 100 round baseline. He was already playing well before that. You can see he's picking up a half stroke with the putter, which is normally a place that you would think it's going to regress, but because of the changes that he's made, maybe it's going to stick around a little bit longer. He's not in the best quadrant that you want to be in, but he's in the second best quadrant that you'd want him to be in. So I think there's a lot of stuff that points towards Joe Highsmith being a very valuable option for this week. Okay, the 6K range here, guys that are struggling, guys that I think even Scott Piercy's in on a sponsor's invite. They might have popped up here in recent years. Sam Ryder is $6,800. He is not playing well at all recently. He finished T10 here last year. I think where I'm going to go is probably a couple of different directions. One is Harry Higgs, who, the big rig is back, right? He had himself a really, really good Korn Ferry Tour season, got punched his PGA Tour card again, has cooled off a little bit, but haven't seen him since the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, which was over a month ago. He played a lot of golf leading into that, maybe just a little bit of a reset, and I think he's back on the proper track. Probably going to pass on Norman Jong. Love Norm, but, started really hot at Shriners. That's the best place in the world for him. Ended up finishing T29. Not bad, but probably not going to be something that I invest in. Wesley Bryan probably has one of the better falls that is probably going a little bit overlooked. So T13 at the Pro Court, T37 at the Sanderson, and then T21. The shocking part, because he's not a very long hitter at all, he's historically very short, he's gained strokes off the tee in 4 straight, pretty significantly. The approach play's been better. The putter's been very good. Again, I don't think this is like the greatest spot in the world for him. Hasn't even played in Cabo since 2020, and missed a cut in 2020, missed in 2018, T42 in 2016. None of those really matter because of how long ago they are, and they were at a different golf course. But we're getting a touch of a revival from Wesley Bryan at the moment. So I don't mind that at all. There's one guy who models really well. His name is Austin Hitt. He's $6,300. The reason that he models well is one, he's very cheap, and because of his strokes gained total numbers, but it's all Korn Ferry Tour stuff, which is not horrible. I'm just pointing it out to you here. So we've got, last saw him at the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, T33. He missed his 3 cuts before that, but he had 3 straight top 10s prior. His summer was very Korn Ferry Tour-esque. Really good finishes or missed cuts. $6,300. I don't know anything about his game. I know that he is from Longwood, Florida, that he is 6'2", and he weighs 185 pounds, and he finished T33 at the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, right? Like, I don't know a lot about him, but we know what the Korn Ferry Tour is, and we know his results and his finishes. And at $6,300, when he's priced amongst guys that we know a lot about, and they are missing a ton of cuts, and there's not a lot to be excited about, I like to play those guys. It doesn't bother me one single bit. Let's see what the custom model can unveil. And I'm very far zoomed in here because I'm on my laptop, so bear with me for a second. But what I will do is I'm going to change it to 24 rounds. I think I want to be pretty recent here, especially for guys that like just in the... You know what I could do? Well, do I want to do that? I was going to say just change it to the fall schedule, but I'll do it this way. So 24 rounds. I'm going to have to do a weighted strokes gained baseline probably for 20. Then what else do we do? I think distance would be good. Let's put 15 on distance. Let's put like 25 on birdie or better gained. Approach play. See, you're going to have to use like greens gained or opportunities gained here because these greens are so big. We could do greens gained for 20. And then we could do like slow or medium greens for putting. Let's see here. Let's just do bonus putting. Well, no. Let's do 10 on medium greens and 10 on bonus putting. I think these are going to be, you know what? I'm going to split that. I'm going to do 5 on medium, 5 on slow because they're going to be like 11 to 12 on the stimp. Okay. Wow. We've got a problem here. So Matty Schmidt is number 1. Bo Hostler is number 2. Both those guys are anti-specialists. So do I want to deal with that? I don't know the answer. Max Grazerman is 3. Fine with that. Patrick Fishburne, still 4. Jacob Bridgman is 5. Doug Gim is 6. JJ Spawn is 7. Matt Kuchar, Justin Lauer, Ben Griffin. Then Rico Hoey is 11. Okay, I don't mind this. I'm just going to need to make a decision on Schmid, Hostler, Spawn. Those are the anti-Paspalum, anti-specialists on Paspalum. Like Grazerman, like Kuchar, like Griffin, like Hoey, like Doug Gim. Let's look at Jacob Bridgman together, right? A name that eluded us throughout the preview. Models very well here. Sorry, I'm on my laptop and I'm misclicking now. Things are going great. Really good in weighted strokes gained total. Drives it far enough. Very good. Top 10 in birdies or better gained. Very good on slow greens. Very good bonus putter. Yeah, indeed. Okay, look at these putting numbers. My goodness. Plus 3.5, -1, +8, +2, +2.5, +2. That's his last 6. Matches tee to green games in 4 out of those 6. Yeah, okay. Not bad. Better than I thought. Needs to get his hat unwrinkled here for the photo shoot, but that looks like it just came out of his luggage. But otherwise, everything else looks good. All right. I'll see you guys Wednesday, barring any travel issues. 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday. I might be severely jet lagged, but I'm excited to get back and rock and roll the rest of the fall and then into the future. Got a lot of cool stuff that I've been working on. So, yeah, best of luck to you guys. I'll talk to you soon.